All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of The Sideline. My name is Rishioza,
My name's Asher Hire.
and we're going to break down a very eventful first couple of games of the Western Conference Finals with Denver and LA. Um, I have never been more nervous during games. I'll say that right now. Like, this was by far the most nervous I've ever been during Nuggets games. Like, especially game two, the fourth quarter, you could see sweat, like, through my shirt. Like, it was ridiculous. Um, That was like, but I was also like probably the most fun I've ever had watching a fourth
Oh yeah.
quarter.
Yeah, well, I was lucky enough to go to the game, and that
Oh yeah,
environment that environment is one of the most like fun things I've ever been a part of, in life in general. Like the loudness, first of all, with the amount of Lakers fans there are, um, and the Nuggets fans being able to drown out all those California people was amazing. And I think with the Lakers having so many fans there, the Nuggets fans get fired up because they're like, "Bro, what are these LA people doing in our
yeah.
building?" And everyone gets fired up about that. And it's LeBron. Everyone gets fired up. Even if he just commits one foul, everyone's like, "Yeah, let's go!" Everyone just hates LeBron. Um, but no, the pop when Porter hit that three to make it a 12-point game after
Mhm.
Murray had made like three straight threes, that was wild. So being there, it's weird. I get way more nervous watching on TV than I do being at the game. Like I don't know why. Maybe
Yeah.
it's just because I can see like I actually have no explanation, but I really
I think
wasn't.
it's you can like get your frustration out. Like you can yell and like be as loud as you want. Like I
Maybe,
think that like
yeah,
for me, like I was yelling in my living room after like the quarter three, and like I was like as loud as I got during the game. I didn't make any other noises because like it's like 9 p.m. I don't want to
yeah,
wake anybody up or
yeah.
at least be annoying.
No, I
So I
wonder if
think
it's
that's
like
probably why.
if you're watching on TV, like they just seem like video game characters that you're just kind of like
Mhm.
hoping play well. But then if you're at the game, you can really see like because just that they're in person and you can see the timeouts and stuff and see how fired up they are in the timeouts. Like I don't know, it's just a different experience altogether. And I noticed it's pretty hard to like realize I had no idea Jamal Murray was 3 for 15 at one point.
Oh yeah.
I had no idea he had that rough of a game because the announcers aren't talking about it. The stats aren't showing up every time he misses a shot. Um, and so it's kind of hard to like keep track of the game when you're there and to keep track of the feel and the stats and stuff, I guess. But um, I'm I'm all researched out now, ready to talk
Yeah.
about.
Like when you're like you can tell when someone's having a bad game, but you really can't like you don't know how bad until you look at the stats. And Ball Arena, God bless their hearts, the service there sucks. Like you cannot get any.
You can't get anything. I have T-Mobile, and T-Mobile doesn't work in the
It's
arena,
a,
and the Wi-Fi doesn't work. I don't receive any messages. I can't send any messages. I can't open up Twitter or anything. Like oh my God, dude.
like
2023.
you're completely in the dark.
Yeah, yeah.
You can't see anything. It's unbelievable. That is probably the biggest complaint I have about Ball Arena. Like out of all of the stadiums that I've been to, Ball Arena probably has some of the best food. Like they have some pretty good food at Ball Arena. But my God, the service is you can't send anything. You can't see
Yeah,
anything.
yeah.
There's nothing. And like, the Wi-Fi doesn't even like connect. Like it's not that you can connect to it and like it just takes. It doesn't connect at all.
Yeah, you
It's
click on
ridiculous.
it and it just spins. Like you're just waiting for the pop-up to show up and it never shows up. It's terrible. Like, come on, Cronkies. You guys got how many dollars? And this is what your fourth like major sports team. Like, does the Ram Stadium have it this bad? I don't know,
I
but
don't know. I have no clue. I got it. But okay, let's get into the game. Game one, we didn't talk about after game one, but the first half of game one was like as perfect of basketball as Denver could have played. In the second half, they kind of, Lakers listened to you. You said the rule adjustment would be scary
yeah,
if that was the guy that they put on because his size and the fact that he's not a complete offensive liability like Jared Vanderbilt would be. And in the fourth quarter of game one, that definitely took into effect. And like that was the only narrative that was out there, nationally, locally, everybody. That was the only thing they were talking about. And like it was concerning in the moment, but when you after the game, just thinking about it, you're like, it's not that big of a deal. At least for me, it didn't feel like that.
Yeah, and it's not that big of a deal because Jokic has seen everything. We saw it with
Mhm.
Philly. We saw it with Minnesota, where they let their big best defender roam in the paint with Embiid and Gobert and now AD. Um, like sure, it can give problems for a quarter when they've played some way for 3 quarters and then all of a sudden they switch it up in
Yeah.
1 quarter. Like boom, there you go. That's a great in-game adjustment. But the narrative was that they had completely figured the Nuggets out, and the Lakers are going to win the series solely because they put Rui Hachimura on Jokic, and it's like the Nuggets just were going to just play the same exact way that they've been playing and not adjust to that adjustment. Um,
Yeah.
is ridiculous, and the whole media has like been an absolute mess with with the Nuggets being playing well. Um, they never even imagined it, even when the Nuggets were the 1 seed the entire season. They never fathomed it. They never talked about the Nuggets being a good team. And now here they are, the Nuggets fans who have been watching this team the entire year. And as we've said, like this team is damn good and it can win the championship. And we both think it's been the best team in the league. And we're not surprised. We both had them in the finals. We both had them winning the finals. But
Yeah.
everyone else is just completely and utterly shocked that they can't even talk about the Nuggets winning. They have to talk about how the Lakers are losing.
Yeah.
It's not that the Nuggets are a good team. It's because the Lakers are messing up. Or the reason the Nuggets win is because they hit tough contested shots as if they don't have Michael Porter, who's the best contested shot 3-point shooter, and Jamal Murray, who's been doing this his entire career, and Jokic, who makes those shots with ease too. Like the team, the players are just amazing basketball
Yeah.
players, and they're better than what the Lakers have, shot
Yeah.
making wise.
Yeah. Like I see on online a bunch of Lakers fans like, oh, Nuggets aren't going to shoot like this again. Like that's not going to happen. And you see all the Suns and the Timberwolves fans saying, like, I remember thinking that too after game one. Like I remember thinking the exact
Right,
same thing. Like this is just who they are. Like when
right,
they're locked in, they are almost unbeatable. They're almost unbeatable. The only thing that you can hope for that offense to not be good is when they miss open shots like they did in the first 3 quarters last night. But when they're making open shots, when Jamal Murray's making his 3 pointers, when Jokic is finding him every single time, and when role players like KCP and Bruce Brown are making theirs, and MPJ is making his, like you can't stop them because
yeah,
that's just how the team's built. And the
and
reason
that's
why no one knows that is because no one watches. Like
right.
they don't. People don't care. The national media does not care about the Nuggets. So the fact that this is all happening, and so many people in real time, you're seeing their brains like realize how good Denver is in real
Yeah,
time. It's ridiculous. Like oh my! I have a lot of words to say about that. I don't know if I should say them now, but I have a lot of words to say because that's just ridiculous. Like,
right.
oh
But
my god,
the thing that like is crazy to me is like, are these people like just now watching basketball? Do they not realize that luck does go into basketball, does factor into shot making on a game to game basis? However, in a 7 game series, it's generally not about luck. It's just the better team wins the series. And the Nuggets are up 2-0 in the series, and they've had luck in both of them with like I guess, even though that's just how they play. Jamal Murray hitting contested threes over LeBron and AD is luck at this point. And Michael Porter hitting a corner contested three is luck, even though we've seen him hit that like 1,000 times in his career.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, that's insane to me. The whole Jokic arriving as a superstar is insane to me. Jalen
he's been
Rose,
superstar for like 4 years now. Like it's it's not like a surprise at all.
he's a two-time he's a back. He has as many MVPs as Steph Curry. Like, was Steph Curry not a superstar when he won his MVPs? Like, I like, dude, it makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah,
But
Like
anyways,
the thing that made me the most angry was the Lisa Salters clip where she says, like, "It's my first time watching yoga." She's like, "It's your job.
yeah,
Like, you get paid to, you know how much I would give to be in Lisa Salter's position to be reporting on the NBA every day, getting paid for it, and then not watching the best player in the NBA. Like, I understand that maybe she meant in person because I'm sure Mike Breen hasn't. I don't know if Mike Breen's had a Nuggets game all year. Like that crew, I don't think has had a Nuggets game all year. I know Van Gundy and Mark Jackson have, but I don't think Breen and Salters have. So if that's what she meant, fine. But it
I
didn't
don't think that's
didn't
what she
seem
meant.
like it because she was like,
Yeah,
"I've been sleeping on the guy. Like I didn't know it was this good. Like it's your job, man. Like, come on. Like, what could you possibly be doing else? Like,
yeah.
every single Nuggets game isn't when you're reporting. Like, our game's on at that point. Like, if you truly love the game and if you truly like basketball, you're going to watch the best players play regardless. Like,
I mean,
that's just how it works.
it just goes to show like just the media in the NBA. Compare that to the NFL. Like no one was saying this about Mahomes. Oh, when Mahomes makes the AFC Championship, I haven't really watched him this year. Like no, everyone knows who Mahomes is. Everyone knows who Josh Allen, Buffalo, New York is. Like the small market.
Joe Burrow in
It's not even.
Cincinnati.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. There's not even like
Baker Mayfield
small.
was like one of the popular guys in the sport when he was in Cleveland.
Right, right. So I mean, there's not even, you know, small markets really because the NFL has kind of phased out the whole market thing. Like
Yeah.
players go from San Francisco to the Broncos, like in free agent moves and stuff like that. Compare that to the NBA where like all anyone knows about is the California teams and the East Coast teams. And like the fact that they just don't put out and show their best product, that they don't give Memphis any games, that they don't give Denver really any games, that they don't give the Heat many games. Uh,
Yeah. Sacramento had one national TV game the entire year.
like, come on. Um, it's really a joke, and like, but I do feel like it has to shift at some point, and maybe this is the year it shifts with Denver, out of all cities being in the championship. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
I feel like if Denver wins, I think they would be the smallest market to win. Like I saw someone say like if Denver wins the championship, they'd be the first team, Western Conference team to win outside of Texas or California since 1979.
Wow.
The only other team was the Sonics
Wow.
outside of California or Texas to win in that span. Like that is ridiculous. Like that just shows that they push those guys are the teams, but everyone else has other teams. Like it just doesn't make any sense. Like the NFL, like you said, they're a clear example that you can make good content without pushing every single big market, regardless. Like just the way that the media talks is just ridiculous. Like the MVP conversation every single day in like January and February was ridiculous. Like, don't you guys like there was so many other things to talk about than that, and like the Russell Westbrook saga in LA every day is he an issue? Because he
Oh
get
my
traded? If he gets
God.
traded for this, like there's so many other things to talk about. Talk about Sacramento. Talk about some younger
Yeah.
team. Talk about like Orlando and how good they looked after Markel Fultz came back. Talk about what San Antonio's young core could do. Talk about what Cleveland was doing with Donovan Mitchell, that trade, like how he improved the team. Talk about like there's so many other things you can talk about. This like outside of just what's
And
happening in Los Angeles and New York. This doesn't make any sense.
and I think it'll grow the NBA in the long term. Like maybe short term they won't get as many viewers, even though the Lakers final series in 2020 was one of the lowest watched final series of all
Yeah.
time. And now you're worried about a Nuggets Heat finals due to the viewership. Who cares, man? Just
Oh my god.
have,
If you're a fan and you care about viewership, shut up. No, you don't.
yeah,
No,
no,
you don't.
I know.
Why do you care? You're gonna watch. Why is it? Why do you care if someone else isn't? Like,
You're not getting the money that the NBA is getting. Like,
yeah. Why are
yeah,
you bootlicking billionaires who don't care? Like,
yeah,
I
yeah.
understand.
But if you just talk about the good teams, you're gonna grow the brand because you make everyone feel like good, I guess. The fans of the city feel good, and doesn't feel like you have to be an LA fan to like see your team on TV and stuff. Like I'm just thinking back to the Chargers Jags game, LA versus Jacksonville.
Yeah.
And both teams get the same amount of coverage. Jacksonville gets the love. The Chargers, no one really talks about, even though they're an LA team. Like, dude, could you imagine a Lakers like Magic finals and how that media storm would go? I mean, it would be all pro Lakers, everything. But in
Yeah. I
football,
mean, like, I wasn't like paying attention when that actually did happen, but I assume there was absolutely no coverage on the Magic side. Like
oh
in
yeah,
2009, when that, like, I assume nobody talked about Magic.
yeah,
Like,
and it's tough with like social media, but like to see what they were saying
yeah,
without social media. But yeah, bro, like the NFL, you got two stud quarterbacks. We're gonna market these teams, and boom, that's easy. That's as easy
yeah,
as you have Jokic, a two-time MVP, market the hell out of him, and because as much as oh my god, all right, the more media stuff like Keyshawn Johnson not liking Jokic's game, people not liking Jokic's game is insane to me. Like you just want to see the same like scoring like bullshit that we've just seen the entire NBA. You don't want to see someone be different and be a passing savant and play a beautiful game, the most efficient game. I don't know how that's like unexciting to watch. I mean that's like saying okay, Tom Brady is unexciting to watch, but like that would be like them like picking apart Tom Brady for not being an exciting quarterback, and therefore he's don't put him on TV. Like that's what you're saying
yeah,
because he
yeah,
just throws short passes, even though
yeah.
he's
It's like I every time on that show when they mention Jokic, Keyshawn Johnson's like, oh my god, we got to talk about this guy again. He's like, I don't like it. I don't like watching it. He's just I don't like. It's like, dude, what? You see him talk about basketball.
yeah,
Yes, him. It's like if Kenny G. Smith was talking about why the Lions are going to underachieve next season. Why? Who gives him the credibility to talk about that? Like, I
right,
don't understand why he has that platform to talk about basketball. No one like Max and Jay Williams. Fine, Jay Williams, former basketball player, good. Max Williams or Max Kellerman went to school to do this. They know
right,
their stuff. Keon Johnson is a former wide receiver. Why is he talking about basketball? Get someone else on there, man. I
right,
understand
right.
it's part of the show, but
Yeah, I mean, it's
like
just like for ESPN, it's just all about getting names. Like, dude, Tristan Thompson getting his little 10-day contract at ESPN. Like, I, I mean, is there any like hiring process that goes into that, or is it just oh he played in the NBA, he played in the NFL, and he wants to do this, so let him do it? Even though Tristan, I know more basketball than Tristan Thompson does, like the levels. I mean, we both know so much more basketball. Maybe not the ins and outs of the locker room and how teams are feeling and all that, but who's good, who's not good, which teams are good, which teams are not good. Like, and all Tristan Thompson is what he did when so they did a thing when the Lakers were kind of heating up towards the end of the regular season. Would the Lakers beat the Nuggets in a 7-game series? And Tristan Thompson's like, I got one hand up for me, I got one hand up for Kendrick Perkins, and I got one hand up for some other NBA ESPN guy who nobody even cares about. And then Vince Carter raises his hand, and then the host raises her hand, um, and someone else raises their hand. Mark Spears. There you go, another
oh,
Nuggets.
big market Spears, big market
Right,
Spears.
right. He raises his hand, and they don't even like really discuss it. They just shoot up. Tristan Thompson's hands just shoot up. He doesn't even think about it. The Lakers, oh my god, I hear the Lakers, boom, shoot up, and then he goes and signs with them and plays 0.3 minutes off the bench. Like, I mean, it's just weird. But okay, we should probably get into like the actual game aspect. We've just been harping on the media, though it's deserved. We've just been harping on for like 20 minutes. Um, and here's the whole Zoom thing. We probably only have like 15 minutes left, but
Oh yeah. I mean,
but
well, if it goes over 30, we'll just start a new one. It doesn't matter. But yeah, talking about the game two, everything props to them. They did play a much better game defensively. They were much more honed in. a lot of it was Denver just missing open shots, but a lot of it was forcing turnovers. Denver only, I think they had 11 total in game one, and like 5 of them came in the fourth quarter. And I think last night they had 15 or 16. Like they forced them in a bunch of other turnovers. They forced them in more difficult shots. They were funneling everything towards the middle instead of towards the outside. Like remember game one, Jamal Murray hit a ton of jumpers outside the paint, and he had a ton of mid-range jumpers outside the paint. This game, they're funneling everything towards the middle, towards Anthony Davis, and it like Anthony Davis, as bad of an offensive game that he had, he's still an elite defender. Like even when he has horrible offensive games, defensively, he's still doing everything right. So like they played a much better game, but it was just like it was so weird in the fourth quarter to watch LeBron James completely shy away from the rim,
Yeah.
and I think part of it is he's just getting older. He's injured. Like he doesn't want to go to the rim. Part of it was he's tired. Like, and I think we talked about that with Jamal Murray in the Phoenix series. A couple of games, he wouldn't go to the rim, and he would just settle for jumper after jumper after jumper, and he'd miss every single one of them. I think that's the same thing that happened to LeBron. I think the altitude, his foot, he hurt it in the fourth quarter again. Like he just could not get to the rim consistently, so he kept having to take jumpers to conserve his energy. And he's made one fourth quarter three the entire playoffs. And I think he was 0 for 4 in the fourth quarter last night. It's so weird to like actually see the age like finally catching up
Oh,
to him. Like
yeah.
I didn't like it. It obviously was going to happen at some point, but it's just so weird to see it in real time.
Yeah, and this is kind of like the like whatever the term is, like perfect storm or whatever for LeBron or whatever, but like in a bad way of where him going against the Nuggets who are at altitude, who run and who play defense, especially Aaron Gordon, who's going to beat you up.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's just the most, the worst situation I think for LeBron, and the situation that really shows his age the most. The Nuggets are young, and they're fast and they're long, and LeBron having to settle for those threes after being worn out. I mean, that's what I said. I think that before the series, I think that they win game two no matter what, whether it was the
Yeah.
Lakers stealing game one and the Nuggets winning off of pure desperation, or the Lakers wearing out as game two goes on, like we've seen them do in every game two so far in the playoffs. They've gotten blown out in each game two, except for the one last night. But like it was predictable with Anthony Davis, who somehow as a 28-year-old, 29-year-old, and a really in shape body, like tires out
Mm-hmm.
very fast. I mean, like Embiid level tires out. And LeBron, he obviously gets tired. And then you see him pulling up for the threes, and it's such a big break because I think he's now 0 for 10 from three against the Nuggets in this series. And, every miss will bounce away from the rim and the Nuggets will get it and they'll go. And he missed two
Mm-hmm.
threes in that stretch where the Nuggets went on their 20-5 run to open up the fourth quarter. Two threes that I think turned into Nuggets threes, like on the other end.
Yeah.
Rather than him forcing the issue and driving to the basket. So yeah, by all means, let LeBron James take those threes. And then Anthony Davis, you could tell he was tired too. Every single shot was short that he
Yeah.
had.
Everything was short.
He probably had like the same amount of looks, I guess, that he had in game one, or the same kind of,
The same quality.
The same quality of looks, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's like what Lakers fans like forget about, like, oh, the Nuggets hit all these lucky shots in game one, but like, damn, Anthony Davis was making everything that he usually like
Mm-hmm.
doesn't make, and he didn't make them in this game. Finished I think 4 for 15 or whatever after going 17 for 23 in game one. So yeah, he looked really tired.
Yeah.
Which is kind of interesting too, because he wasn't banging with Jokic really this game, except for when all the starters are on the floor. And even then, they moved into LeBron or Vanderbilt on Jokic later into the game, but Davis did start out on Jokic. But like Jokic wears down so much with all the off the ball movement and stuff, and AD didn't really have to guard all that, and he's still.
I think a lot like LA's, they got both games they got killed in transition, but a lot of game one's transition stuff was Jokic just dusting everybody down the court. Like he was
Yeah.
beating everybody. And I think, in film, you're obviously going to see that. So I think Anthony Davis, he made a very concerted effort to either crash the glass completely or get all the way back on defense and not allow Jokic to beat everyone down the floor. Because I don't, at least in this game, I don't remember Jokic getting a mismatch ceiling, getting wide open in the paint. Like he had a couple of them in the half court, but he didn't have any in transition. I think that's like running up and down constantly with how fast Denver has played this season. That takes a toll on you, especially for a big body. And that's like what I don't get about everyone saying Jokic is unathletic. Like he's the most conditioned player in the NBA. It's probably Steph and then Jokic, but it's more impressive for Jokic because he's so big and he
Yeah.
plays so much and he bangs so much and he's running, he's beating everyone down the court, he's pushing the pace. Whenever he gets a rebound, he's pushing. Like that run in the second quarter that Denver made when they were down 11, they had a push to get within one towards the end of the first half. Jokic is getting rebounds of pushing and getting wide open dunks, wide open threes every single time. And Anthony Davis, like he's crashing the glass, he misses the rebound. Jokic is beating him down the court every single
Right.
time.
Right.
And I think just doing that so much wears you out so much. And for Jokic to not get completely gassed doing that is ridiculous.
It
Like
really.
that people do not talk about that enough. They just look at him, it's like, oh, he's not athletic. No, he is the most conditioned athlete in the NBA. It's
I,
unbelievable.
I think like people don't really talk about something that's huge in Jokic's game and something that Davis and other big men can work on is the off the ball movement, bro. Like
Oh my
whether it's
god.
in transition, running down the court with or without the ball that Jokic does, or it's in the half court and all the Jokic will get screened and he'll run from the left side of the court to the right side of the court, get the ball, bang a couple times, dish it back out, and then he'll go up and set the screen and then roll, and then he'll get the ball again and then he'll make his move. Or he'll just keep running and running and fighting for that post position because he gets such good post position to where sometimes he can just catch the ball and just go up right. He's just right in front of the
Yeah.
basket. And other big men don't like really do that. They go to work when they have the ball. Like Anthony Davis goes to work one-on-one when he has the ball, which I like. Going against Jokic, sure, he's not going to go up and swat Anthony Davis, but he's not letting AD bang his way into the paint because Jokic
No.
is as strong as you get, and he's going to force you to take either a mid-range jump shot or a contested 8-footed floater, which, not really
Yeah.
high percentage shots.
Yeah. Like that was something that people were saying before the series. Like I remember the hoops venue guy on Twitter. He was saying like Denver obliterates the Lakers in a series, and this is in like March when Denver was trolling and was not trying at all at the end of the regular season, and he got cooked for it because Lakers were on a heater and Denver was sucking. Um, but during that point, like he was saying, they don't have anyone to do the Dwight Howard JaVale McGee strategy on Jokic. AD is going to have to guard him one on one, and that's not Anthony Davis's strength, and that's
Right.
Jokic's strength. And and you're seeing it now, but I think another underrated part of it is how good Jokic has played defensively, especially last night. But I thought in game one too, like first quarter, first half, he was really, really good because one-on-one defensively, Jokic is good. He's always been good one-on-one if you back him down because he's
Yeah.
ginormous. Like you cannot go through him. You have to go around him, but he's once again ginormous and he has the like insanely long arms, so he can deflect everything. He's making it super, super tough. Anthony Davis has had a couple of times where he's tried to go up and under the basket. Jokic is right there every single time.
Yeah.
He's blocked it a couple of times. He's made it really tough a couple of times. Like he has played incredible one-on-one defense on Anthony Davis. And like that's just something that nobody has been talking. I saw some guy say he was the worst defender on the court. I'm like, how can you possibly be seeing that when you're watching this game? Like he was phenomenal defensively last night, um, especially one on one. Like that people are not talking about how good he's been
Yeah, I
on
agree.
that end.
I agree. I think like, for the Lakers, you can't keep going to that. You have to be attacking the rim. LeBron does have to attack the rim. And I think they need to
Mm-hmm.
give Reeves the ball more. Like Reeves has been good when he gets the ball, whether it's a 3-point shot or it's him driving to the rim, and he's good at driving to the rim, and he's good at
Yeah.
finishing, and he has a little mid-range fadeaway game. And with D'Lo struggling so much in this series and being played off the court in game one, he's a negative 41 in the 59 minutes he's played and a plus 30 in the 37 minutes without him. And that's a dilemma for the Lakers because do you bench D'Angelo Russell, make him mad, shorten your guard rotation, one less handler, your only true ball handler at that point is Schroeder and LeBron, really, and Reeves at some points. But
Mhm.
do you do that because he's been such a negative on both ends of the floor? He's a cone on defense. He takes inefficient shots on offense. So if they do want to bench him, shorten the rotation, so be it. Like, okay, I'll take that, whatever. Or do they play him? And I'll take that too because he is a negative, and they'll lose the minutes with him on the floor. So like, that's a really sticky situation for them, and that I think is really hard to figure out. Because
Yeah.
like D'Angelo
He's
is
he's he's
he's
such a
just
weird player.
yeah, and he's got a big ego, and he's got
Yeah.
you know un not real confidence. Like he's confident, but too much confidence in his shot because he's just not that good of a
Yeah.
shot maker. And so that's a really big the D'Angelo Russell problem for the Lakers is something that they'll have to figure out. But I did think that they played well, very well in game two. Um, that I think they can definitely build off of. Like the Nuggets defense, half court offense was not good in this game
No.
at all, and that was mostly Lakers defense, especially with Vanderbilt out there. So much length, and AD roaming is really tough. Jokic again, 0 points in the fourth quarter, zero made field goals in both of the fourth quarters, in both of these games. But with Jokic, you're just gonna get what is needed. If he needed to score, I think he can
Yeah.
score, but he
Yeah,
realizes
I'm not worried about it. Last night's scoring, I'm not because he was just feeding the hot hand. Like there
yeah,
was no reason for him to score. The first game one was a little concerning, but I don't think like any adjustment. Like he's gonna know what to do when that adjustment comes. Because in the first half, he was the only guy who was getting to the basket consistently. He was the only guy scoring consistently in the first half, and that was with AD on him. That was with Hachimura, with Vando, LeBron, like whoever it was, like he was doing fine. But in the second half, like they made such a more conceited effort to try and get other guys going. Like he didn't shoot that much in the second half at all. He had some like desperation threes and some
right,
weird like end of shot clock floaters.
right.
Um, so I'm not worried about that at all. The D'Lo thing is so weird to me because like you know that his ceiling is so high. Like his ceiling is like a bona fide number three
I
on the
mean, he
Lakers team.
was. Did he make the All Star team with Brooklyn, or was he was
Yeah.
almost an All Star? I
You
forget
know,
if
he was Brooklyn. Like he can get to that level.
yeah,
But like you just since that point in Brooklyn, you have not seen it consistently whatsoever. And it's so odd because he still has the confidence and like props in for having the confidence because you have to have it. But it's just so weird to see it because it like he can do it, but you just haven't seen it consistently at all over the past 4 seasons. So that's definitely an issue for the Lakers to have because when he's playing well, I don't remember what game it was against um Golden State, but he
yeah.
had a good game against Golden State and he had one good one against Memphis. And their offense just looks so much better when he's making shots. So like just for the possibility of that happening, you have to keep him in there because I think your offense, like the ball handling goes down, like you said, so much if you take him out of the lineup. Like I think LA's best lineup is probably Schroeder, Reeves, Hachimura, LeBron, AD. I
Yeah.
think that is the best combination of spacing and defense that you can have. But once again, that's only two primary ball handlers. Like you don't have other people who can really get to the rim in that lineup. And that's a big time issue for them. Like with Denver, you have a bunch of people who can get to the rim. You have other actions that you can run to get shots, the rim shots from the 3 point line. LA doesn't really have that. And that's what like I was talking about this earlier. I'll try and get this out before the meeting ends. Um, I was saying this earlier, like something I love about Denver and something I hate about Denver. They don't have like their offense doesn't hunt people. Like they hunted D'Angelo Russell, but it didn't really feel like they were attacking him and isoing him and like forcing help to come. They were just running actions with him involved in it. And what the like I love that about them. And I also don't like it because if there's somebody in foul trouble or if there is a weak defender on the team, they won't really go at him and they won't really go at them consistently. Like the Lakers, LeBron James is getting Jamal Murray involved every single action. He's getting Michael Porter involved in every single action, and it works a lot of the time. But eventually, they're gonna figure it out. So like, it's nice to have that in your back pocket. But LA doesn't really have a consistent action that they can get to, like the Murray Jokic 2-man game, or that they ran the same play in the fourth quarter to get a three like 4 different times with Murray and Porter, and it worked every single time. And like they LA had wouldn't guard it probably a single time.
So for these last 2 minutes, I want to like ask you, I guess. It feels like we're settling into the series. Like we know what the Lakers are going to do defensively. We know what the Nuggets have been doing defensively. And it was an even game last game, and evenly played after the Lakers made that adjustment in game one. So, like, what do the Nuggets have to do in game 3 on the road that makes you comfortable with them winning?
I think you still have to play through Jokic. I don't think you can go away from that because I still think you have to make the Lakers work on defense. You can't let them off the hook. You have to force them to keep that adjustment of playing small on him and forcing the help to come. Because if you do that, Denver has the counters to make it work. They just have to make their open shots. Like that's just all. Like in the first 3 quarters and in the fourth quarter, they didn't make their open shots. But in the fourth quarter of game 2, they made their open looks. Everyone was getting involved and they're running in transition. Like those are the keys. Make your open shots off the rotations. Nobody can be hesitant. Like KCP and MPJ at points last game were hesitant when they have open looks, and you can't have that. So don't be hesitant on open looks and keep running in transition because LA's transition defense is horrendous. That was the key in their bubble year. They were running in transition and they were able to get back and stop our transition. They haven't been doing that at all. Their transition offense has been fine, but their transition defense is awful. So keep doing that, and I think Denver will have a chance. But it'll be hard. LA is such a tough place to win. They're undefeated at home. Denver craps themselves every time they play in LA too. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I agree. Running in transition is super important. So just how in the past, 16, 17, 18, 19 Nuggets, we're near the bottom of the league in pace. And their home record wasn't spectacular or wasn't up to the standard that the George Karl era was used to. But now with this year, or these past couple years, I guess, but really this year because Murray helps push the pace too. But like Jokic getting the rebound and boom, like sprinting with the ball or firing up to half court to Aaron Gordon or whoever is already out there. It's just such an advantage to not have against a set long defense like the Lakers. And being able to do that on the road, I think, is even more important because just because it's on the road and it's just harder to make shots.
Yeah.
But to make the shots as easy as they can get in transition is huge.
Mm-hmm. Those transition baskets on the road take out so much energy from the home crowd because like it's just so quick and easy. Like the crowd is wanting to be loud after a stop, be loud after a string of consecutive stops. Like that's what was happening last night in Denver. But when the other team can't make a shot and you're pushing the pace and you're getting score after score after score, that it just takes so much wind out of the fans, and especially in LA, like that's such a hard place to win. Like they play so good at home. Their shooting is so good at home. It's ridiculous. I don't understand how, but their shooting at home is so much better than it is on the road. And that's something that like it's crazy to me that people were saying like, oh, the Nuggets shooting luck was bad. It's like the last game, that's more of what LA shoots. They shot like 8 for 30 from 3. That's more of what they shoot. Like that's closer than what 11 of 24, whatever they shot in the previous game. Like that's closer to what their percentages are. And Denver's percentages are around where they have shot these last couple of games. So as long as there's no ridiculous outlier game like there was in game 1, I think they'll be fine. Because I think Denver, that was their best offensive game in game 1 because of how they played in the fourth quarter. But like, I don't think they're gonna have another game like that against the Lakers defense where they're just making every single shot. I'm not saying that it was lucky shot making. I'm saying that the Lakers defense wasn't good. Like they were just open looks, and Denver was
Yeah,
making open looks.
yeah,
So and they just make open looks and flow the offense rather than like shots that you just chuck up like Jokic and Murray had a couple of times. Is shots within the offense make you open ones. I think Denver will be okay, but it'll be hard. It'll be really, really hard. Like that. This is the biggest game of LA season. I'd be very
oh yeah,
surprised if LeBron James isn't attacking the rim from the start and hunting mismatches from the start, even with his foot. But it'll be interesting to see how they come out. It'll be interesting to see their starting lineup too, because I'd be surprised if there wasn't a change again.
yeah, and they've switched it up, game two already. So like, definitely
Mm-hmm.
could switch it up again. And yeah, desperation game. Game three feels a lot like the Phoenix series where it's like, damn, like the Nuggets could really, step on their neck and end it in
Mm-hmm.
game three. But in desperation, like NBA teams seem to like if a home team loses the first game, it seems like they always win the second game. Um,
Yeah.
and so like I would be very surprised, honestly, if the Nuggets win this game. Um, but game four, that's the one I think that they can go get.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I wouldn't be surprised if LA comes back to Denver tied 2-2. Like it's what I predicted going into the series. I don't think it's going to change. I think the victory thing is BS. Like that doesn't exist in the playoffs, especially this late. But the Lakers, they're not. I don't think they feel helpless. Like they know that they have ways that they can stymie the Nuggets offense. They would have definitely wanted to win, and they're probably pissed off that they didn't get a win. But they are definitely still confident. Like they're not like they know that they can win at home for sure. Like they have that confidence in them, and then Denver has the confidence that they can beat them on the road. Um,
All right. What
and
did
it's
what
kind of
did you
like
say? Sorry, it kind of like cut out. What did you say was BS in that?
I like the moral victories thing. Like
Okay.
Lakers fans online is like, oh, dude, like after game one, like we feel like we're up 1-0. Like no, you don't. That's not a
Yeah.
thing. This late in the playoffs, that's not a thing. Maybe in like the first round, if you're a 7 seed loses to the 2 seed in game one, but you found some like maybe then. But
Or
in
or
conference finals,
if
that
you're
doesn't
like a
happen.
young team and you lose by like 4 points at Golden State. There you go. There's a
Yeah.
moral victory for you.
Yeah. But these games are not moral victories. Those do not exist
Yeah.
in the playoffs. Like silver linings in the postseason don't exist until your season ends. They don't happen game by game because you can't afford to think about it that way because then you get too comfortable with making mistakes.
Yeah.
Uh, and LA is definitely not going to do that. So I'm with you. I think LA wins game three. Um, it would be interesting to see. Like I don't expect a game like game 3 and 4 in Phoenix where it's just shot making after shot, like ridiculous shots after ridiculous shots on both sides. I think it's much more of a slugfest, much slower, very much more to how game two was in the first 3 quarters. But I think the big Michael Porter Jr. game, depending on who they start, I think if they go big, he's got to be able to find a mismatch and get going from the 3 point line. But if they stay small, he's got to use his size like he did in game one and get to the rim, score at the rim, finish, and shoot over guys because he's just too big for them. I'd be surprised if they stay small. I think they like that Vanderbilt
Yeah.
lineup, but I would assume they go Hachimura just considering how good he played with the starters in the first half of game one,
Sure.
which is also I want to say that Rui Hachimura he had 20 something last night. He had 17 in game one. He didn't have that combined in the last 3 games the the Golden State series. Like he was in single digits for the entire Golden State series. Like I'm not kidding. So he's on a hot streak. Austin Reeves is on a hot streak. He has 2 banked in threes this series already.
Yeah.
There's probably more shooting luck going in on the Lakers side than Nuggets, if we're being honest. But like you said, luck is a thing. Like that just happens. Good teams get good bounces. Good teams get good luck. That's just how it works. Um, so Denver's gonna have to deal with it. Like if that's just how those guys are gonna shoot, Denver's old players are gonna have to play well, and they have been. Like Bruce Brown, KCP are probably the equivalents to Hachimura and Reeves, and they've been playing just as good, maybe even better than those guys have. So,
Yep.
but I'm Denver feeling confident. But as a fan, like meh. I think Lakers win.
Yeah. I don't know though. I mean, this Denver team feels like they do keep surprising us. So like, man, if they
Yeah.
could win this game three, oh my god, bro, it's It's over. And to sweep LeBron into retirement, that is the dream right there. Especially
The Nuggets swoop in franchise history to be against LeBron James in the
to
conference
be
finals.
against the Lakers too, who have dominated the Nuggets. Like, oh my gosh, bro. But and especially after seeing LeBron in person was like horrendous to witness. I understand how like why Celtics fans and Warriors fans like how people can truly despise LeBron because I felt it in that game. Like I was like, dude, this guy, I can't believe like I think this guy is amazing. But like obviously that's just one game. And looking back at his career, he's probably like the GOAT or whatever. But the flopping, the complaining to officials, the just like fake ankle injury when Reeves banked in the three and he's down on the other end of the court and then he ties his shoe and he's all good for the rest of the game. But man, that flop was just
Oh,
egregious.
the flop was
So
so bad. I'm glad Jokic got power back on him.
I know, I know.
Like that was so bad. They showed the replay, and I'm like, oh my god, because you can't challenge it because there was like the slightest amount of contact on his face.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
so, if you challenge it, there would still be a foul. But like, oh my god, it's
He
like,
pretty much went flying from like pretty much the nail or like the top of the key, the middle of the court, all the way to the sideline, and then make someone spill their drink over him, and then he gets the towel, but like the look on his face when he says thank you, he's like, "Oh, thank you," like damn, like he just went through like the hardest hit of his entire life. Like the look on his face when he looks in the camera and says thank you, it's like, oh man, god damn, like thank you, man. Like, bro, you just did that to yourself. Like I
yeah.
don't understand it. And then he
Well,
complained to
players,
Jokic about
no, keep on.
he complained after the Jokic foul in which LeBron, I mean, it probably like is a foul because he puts his shoulder right into Jokic's stomach, and Jokic does flop, but then LeBron is like smiling, like, bro, you just flopped like the possession before. Why are you now all of a sudden like where is the self like conscious? How are you doing this a week after you say you've never played on a flopping team? Like, bro, why?
Yeah, like, well, we don't teach flopping. It's like, come on, like the way the NBA is today. Yes, you do. You teach flopping. Everyone does it. Everyone like it's part of the
He
game.
LeBron is
Then it's
maybe
just
the
like,
most
oh my god,
notorious flopper. Um,
he might be the most. No, it's like him, Chris Paul, and James Harden as
yeah.
like the floppers in NBA history. This is like
And
the lack of
Embiid,
self awareness from
Embiid's
some
climbing
NBA
up that
players.
list. What?
He's going up. NBA is going. Like the lack of self awareness from NBA players on fouls and flops is insane. It's like, dude, you just like you cannot tell me that in your mind you aren't flopping, and then when someone does it to you, you can't be like, I can't believe you just did
I
that.
know.
No, use your head a little bit, please. Like I understand it's adrenaline and it's a big game. Like, come on, like stay in the
Yeah.
moment somewhat.
Mark,
But
actually,
oh my
probably
god,
Marcus Smart is the goat flopper, honestly.
he has the
Um,
most egregious ones for sure. He's don't he doesn't even try to hide it.
yeah, he's got
Like,
like the longest compilation of like the most egregious flops, and I think that's how you can get the title of goat flopper. And he gets the calls too, so like, there you
His
go.
works. His works because he flops on big men and he's a guard. So it works a
Yeah,
lot of the time. But like LeBron flopping, like no one's pushing over LeBron that hard. You were like the most fleet, you were the most athletic person probably in the history of mankind. Like no one is just doing that to you.
right.
But like Marcus Smart, it makes sense. Like if Jokic pushes Marcus Smart, I thought, oh yeah, dude, Marcus Smart's like 6'3". Jokic has
Yeah,
a whole foot on him, like 80 pounds. Like, yeah, of course it makes sense. But like LeBron's the one guy who probably can't get shoved by Jokic. It's really funny. Flopping sucks. I hope that like they just got to give out techs for flopping and actually start finding them again,
right.
and they'll
Or
stop.
yeah, or why the college basketball has an anti-flopping rule.
Mhm.
Like bring that to the NBA. It might help. I don't know. I mean, the rules really like nothing because you get like a warning at first. Um,
Yeah,
and sometimes they don't even like call it. Like you can flop in college and they won't call it. It's
yeah.
just like
It's so subjective. Like it is very, very hard to call it. Like there were a couple calls, like goaltending calls that went Denver's way last night that I thought were really iffy. Like probably no calls at best. Like the AD putback at the end of the first quarter and then the goaltend at the end of the third, like those were close. Like if they went the Lakers, if they didn't call either of those, like I wouldn't have complained. Like that
It's
probably
funny.
would have been the right call.
It's funny how the one they don't call is like the Bruce Brown one. That's a clear goaltend, and thankfully it goes into the hoop. But I don't think they actually called it. I think they just
Yeah, on
scored.
the broadcast they said they called it. At least I
Oh, they
think. I'm
did.
sure
Okay.
in the ring that's way harder with the crowd, and like you probably couldn't even hear the whistle.
Yeah.
But
No.
I think they called it.
Okay.
Uh, but yeah, but like they don't call it a lot of the time. Like if it's egregious and it just goes in, like they're like, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Like it's just like I don't know. Like it's tough. Um,
All right.
yeah, oh my God, 37. Jesus. All right, I think that's going to be it. Unless you have anything else.
No computers at 2%.
Maybe we'll see what happens game 3 against the Lakers. Um, either today or tomorrow, depending on when I edit and upload this video. But yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll make a video probably after game 4, depending on scheduling. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.